I did start ballroom dancing when I was in grade 2. So it was part of my gym class, and actually went straight from grade 2 all the way until present. Now, as an occupational therapist, I'm trying to integrate different aspects of my dancing into the therapy that I would provide for my patients, but also integrate therapy into some of the dancing that we're doing in our studio. Well, my last competition was in beginning of 2018. I was living in Ontario at that time, so I was competing every weekend essentially. When I was in Ontario, I worked in pediatric clinic and also do some teaching, of course, as well. Being so busy with everything that was going on, I also had a 5-month-old baby at that time. So my wife and I had a baby. I had been so stressed and so busy, and it was, financially very difficult to maintain with all now some new bills that I would have. And so I just made the decision that it was time to support my family, both with time and, a bit more priority. Jane Edgett, she was my mentor. She was my inspiration. She started me and taught me to love dancing. So of course I would be nowhere without her. She gave me such a solid foundation. She was my mentor. She's my friend. She's, a close person throughout all of the stages of my life. I also have to say, Anton Lebedev and Anna Borsch, who cannot love them because of their personality, who they are, but also their expertise. And they did bring me to the point where I could represent Canada at all of these world-class events. Andra and Maurizio and Nino. So I have to, of course, mention them as well, because they really brought my Latin side of things, because I was competing in 10 dance. They really brought that one up. The name itself is also known, again, based on the history of the Edgett family, for a strong foundation and base for creating great dancers. I put in dance and wellness because, as I mentioned to begin, I'm trying to integrate my therapy background with my dancing. So I've created some programs now with the help of many people, of course, and collaboration with groups in Ontario and across the country as well, to create programming for people with physical disabilities. So we have people with Parkinson's, we have people that have had spinal cord injuries, they have had hip replacements, things like this. So physically they are unable, as I guess the general population would expect, to do dancing. But why should they be limited or unable to engage in dancing? I moved into a new space February 1st. We opened the new studio. We were open for literally 5 weeks. And then the government, of course, with COVID, they mandated full closure in every aspect. So not even able to have private classes. Of course, financially, that was also extremely difficult, because I was still having bills from the previous studio and now with the new studio and new space and renovations, things like this. So we were closed for 3 months, finally can open up in June, partially. And that's how we maintained through the summer. Everybody was very supportive in the end, because they really understood. They felt safe, so they came back. So I was very happy that we were successful in that regard. The government will do some updates, but for now, yes, we're doing Zoom classes. So I'm fortunate enough, like I mentioned, the studio is quite large. There's one wall that we put the projector on, so I can see anybody who's entered or involved in the class, and I can see them on the big screen, and they will see me live, and I can provide in the moment feedback to them as I give them their their moves and their steps and all this kind of stuff. So anybody who's interested can certainly come. Because it is Zoom, they can just email our studio, edgettdance@gmail.com. I think that, of course, shoes are the most important aspect of dancing. Of course, you need technique, you need a beautiful dress and a tuxedo and all of this stuff, presentation. But we do know that everything we do begins from the floor. Our weight has to release into our legs, and what is attached to the floor? Our feet. So we're always using feet to produce any movements that we do. So if you don't have good shoes, how can you actually achieve your maximum, right? So I think shoes are definitely one of the most important factors. And whether you're in Latin or ballroom or you compete in 10 dance, it is very important to have the most appropriate pair and appropriate size heel, fit, comfortable, not too big, not too small, all of this kind of stuff, kind of just right type of shoe. And I do know that I Love Dance shoes, they do have such a good broad range of availability for both men and women in both ballroom and Latin. For our studio, it's one of the favorite, I guess, models or brands, because it's funky, it's different, it's personalized. So everybody looks amazing with them on, first of all, but is also individualized. So it's really cool. Yeah. Just to never give up. I think it's what I would tell myself. So no matter how big the hurdle, how many times you have to practice that samba walk, how many challenges you're faced with, and not even a studio right now to practice in, you make do with what you have. There's always things that you can work on in yourself to improve yourself, even if you can't be physically with your partner in the moment. So it doesn't matter if you're not in the studio, if you aren't able to get somewhere. You know, for now, there's no competitions right now, or minimal competitions. It can be quite discouraging, and I understand that, but I would definitely encourage everybody, teachers, students, colleagues, to not give up right now. It's hard to look past because of all the things that we're faced with, but I think if we push through and believe, we will make it.